Florida fans, they got a massive win on their bye week. LJ McCray, On3's #1 ranked defensive lineman, he committed to the Gators. Chose UF over FSU, Georgia, Miami, and Auburn, a huge addition to an already loaded class for the Florida Gators, but still not done. There's a few very important spots still left to fill. And in this video, we'll find out if the addition of McCrae will influence other blue chip recruits in their decisions. And who will UF's next commitment be, and more. All right, Gator fans, hit that subscribe button to the On3 Recruits channel. We need you. We're building this page. Look, almost to 20K. Hit subscribe. Get us there. All right, let's get on. Keith Niebuhr from Gators Online. Keith, 5-star LJ McCray. Where does it rank among Billy Napier's biggest commitments at UF?
I think it's a clear-cut number 2. Look at who you beat. Look at who... What he can do. I mean, again, #1 defensive lineman in the country for On3, but Florida's recruiting him to also play edge. NFL body, he's got an NFL skill set. And then, again, like I said, who you beat. So that combination, who you beat plus what he brings to the table, puts him #2 only behind the pickup of DJ Lagway, the current 5-star Florida quarterback commit, because, you beat out Clemson and you beat out Southern Cal for that guy. I mean, he was the top target for both those programs. And, if Lincoln Riley wants you, if Lincoln Riley has got his hooks into you, you're probably a pretty good quarterback prospect. So to me, Lagway won, but this is a #2 by a lot. It's significant, Josh.
Yeah, this is absolutely huge. And like I said, it could have an impact on others. McCrae, he goes to Daytona Beach Mainland High School, and he has a teammate, 4-star Zay Mincy, who is also heavily recruited. Miami's in there, Florida State's in there, Alabama also in there for Zay Mincy. So do you think that McCrae's decision will have any impact on what Mincy ends up doing here soon?
Maybe, maybe not. Maybe because kids want to be part of big classes. They want to be part of special groups. They want to be part of a class that they think is going to take a program to the next level. So in that respect, perhaps. But just in the sense that, hey, my teammate and my friend is going to one school, I'm going to go with them. Now, we don't see that a lot, Josh. You know this. These guys want to do their own thing. They're looking for the best situation for them. So he's looking at Alabama, Florida, and Miami. He officially visited Alabama this weekend. And, it's really down to those 3 schools. I think FSU's sort of on the peripheral as well. But I think he's going to make his own decision. Now, the good news for Florida is they've been one of his top schools for a long time, and I think there is still some level of optimism, cautious optimism. I don't ever say confidence, but, they feel like they're very much in it and they have a good shot. But it's going to be his decision alone. He's not going to go somewhere just because his teammate went there.
Yeah. Hey, it might not help them, but I promise you one thing, it won't hurt the Gators that they landed 5-star defensive lineman LJ McCray. We'll see what Zay Mincy does here in about a month or two. Want to move on and talk about those final spots for the Gators. I know 5-star offensive tackle Jordan Seaton is now a major priority out in Oregon this weekend for a visit, but the Gators already host him on an in-season official visit. So, Keith, do the Gators have a shot to land Seaton and put the icing on the cake of this 2024 class?
They do. Now, again, this is one I think we're landing LJ McCray helps because he's looking at that class and he's seeing 3 5-stars on it. LJ McCray, quarterback DJ Lagway, safety Xavier Filsaime out of Texas. And, hey, I can be part of this class. This can be a class that's a special class and can lift Florida to new heights. We know NIL is going to be a factor always. He's a 5-star recruit. It always is. And that obviously adds a tinge of uncertainty to all this. Alabama has been his name leader for a while. I haven't talked to him in the last couple of weeks, but the last time we talked to him, that's kind of was the team to watch. Tennessee had made a significant move. He visited there and planned to go back. And now he's out at Oregon this weekend, or went out to Oregon this weekend, Yeah. So, I think there is some level of, again, we use this phrase a lot, cautious optimism at Florida. They feel like his official visit to Gainesville went extremely well. He bonded well with DJ Lagway, the 5-star quarterback commit. In fact, Josh, I went out to Texas just a week or so ago, and I asked DJ Lagway, who is your #1 target? And he said, look, I like all these guys, but if you're going to ask me, who do I really need more than any of them? It's that franchise offensive tackle, that franchise left tackle. So that's right. He is set out to make, Jordan Seaton his #1 priority. Will it matter at the end of the day? I don't know. This recruitment's already had a lot of twists and turns, Josh. It feels like a new school pops up every few weeks.
Right.
But Florida's certainly in the mix.
Yeah, absolutely. And I like DJ Lagway on the case. That peer-to-peer recruiting always works out well. Now, let's talk a little flip talk. And I wanted to check in on Alabama 4-star commitment, Jameer Grimsley. He's out of the Tampa Bay area. Is this potential flip still a possibility? Are things still cooking? And do you expect him back on campus this season for a visit?
Well, let's just first recognize that Alabama, they've put so many defensive backs in the NFL, and Florida prides itself on being DBU, but Alabama's got a pretty doggone good track record too. So we expect it to be a pretty intense battle between Travaris Robinson, the secondary coach at Alabama, and obviously Corey Raymond, the secondary coach at Florida. But Corey Raymond has really dug in deep on this one. So has Billy Napier. They're all over Jameer Grimsley. They love this guy. He's been hurt all year, quite frankly. He's not playing. But he is a guy that they love. He's got the length and the speed that Corey Raymond loves out of his secondary players, specifically at cornerback. Florida feels like, Josh, that they're going to be in it until the very end. And I'm sure there's, look, if you're Alabama, you've got an unbelievable track record, right? You're probably not super worried, but I'm sure there's a little bit of a level of concern there because the kid's in Tampa. His family would be, his family loves Tuscaloosa. They love Alabama, but they'd be comfortable with him in Gainesville too. So Florida's working on him hard. Josh, a weekend to keep an eye on, November 4th, Florida's blackout game versus Jersey blackout game versus Arkansas. We think Jameer Grimsley probably will be at that game. At least that's the plan right now. We'll see what happens there. Does he have a good time? Does he feel at home? Florida's been playing catch up on this recruitment for a long time. That weekend could go a long way to determining whether they have a legitimate shot with him.
All right, Florida fans, he said blackout weekend, meaning the jersey. I know some of you do that every weekend. It's just the jersey combo. All right.
Yes, that's true.
Better shot at flipping here, Jameer Grimsley or Charles Lester? I know Charles Lester, 5-star committed to FSU. They're heavily involved with, made a visit during the season. Who do you think right now as it stands, the Gators have a better shot at flipping?
Well, I think Grimsley, even though Lester's got, I know I don't want to go on and on here, but Lester has 2 visits set for Florida. He's going to go back, I think, for maybe the Florida State game, and then he plans to officially visit. But he grew up a Florida State fan, Josh. If FSU does what it needs to do to hold on and keeps the foot on the gas there, they could be difficult to beat. He likes Corey Raymond, the Florida secondary coach. But again, that one seems like maybe the harder flip, believe it or not. I mean, you wouldn't think it'd be harder to flip a guy from FSU than Alabama. That's no knock on FSU, but Alabama's record over the last decade and a half is tremendous. But I think maybe Jameer Grimsley, but I still wouldn't put either one at 50% just yet for Florida. These are going to be slow. What, Josh, you used to use this phrase a lot. Florida's really got to play the long game with both these guys. They do.
And it is a long game because once the season ends, the recruiting season begins, and it's like it takes on a life of its own. So everything that happens now is just as it seems. Once we get into those crazy recruiting weeks after the season, November into December, anything can happen. So I just want to get your read on it right now. Speaking of that, and we were talking about levels of concern, what about Jamonte Waller? He visited Auburn this weekend. It's his second time back at the Plains this season. I know you covered the Auburn recruiting beat for a while, so I just wanted to have you weigh in there. Do you think there's any level of concern that Auburn could flip him?
Well, I'm not hearing much concern from the Florida side of things, but there probably should be. He's in Mississippi, so it's a closer drive to Auburn. There's always other dynamics in play. We know NIL will probably rear its head more in this one as you get closer to signing day. Excuse me, Josh. Florida's defensive coordinator, Austin Armstrong, is working on this one hard. I believe he's going to go see him soon. Mm-hmm. Auburn's defensive coordinator, Ron Roberts, apparently has made him a priority, and they speak often. Look, what do we say? Follow the visits. I think he's been to maybe 1 Florida game this year, and now he's been to 2 Auburn games. It's at least somewhat of a concern, I would say. And by the way, there's one other guy that I think Florida needs to be concerned about, or a couple. There's always concerns, Josh. You got people, when you're recruiting good players, people are going to try to steal them away from you. But 2 to watch, Nasir Johnson, the defensive lineman, FSU, Georgia as well, heavily involved. And then Amaris Williams, an edge. He visited Ohio State this weekend. So Florida is 5-2. They've got this great class, but you can never take the foot off the gas. I think this staff knows that. You're going to lose some, but you're probably going to flip some guys too. So it's tricky. But Jamonte Waller is a little bit of a concern right now. A little bit of concern. I think definitely.
All right. Well, what a weekend for UF fans. Keith Niebuhr, thank you for dropping by the Inside Scoop today and talking about the addition of 5-star LJ McCray and much more. Appreciate you, Keith.
Yeah, thanks, Josh. Appreciate it, man.
Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed that content, be sure to subscribe to the On3 Recruits channel. We have a new page dedicated only to recruiting. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button right now.